What's up, guys? Welcome back to another trade recap. Today, unfortunately, I took a loss for about $850, but it is what it is. Losses are a part of the game, and I'm making this video to share my thinking process, all of the decisions I made, and just everything that led me to take this trade today, even if it was a loss. But yeah, let's get into it. So, the very first thing that I saw coming into today was that basically our overnight sessions kind of consolidated. If I go on the 30-minute real quick for you, you can see from Asian session open right here to New York open, we had only moved like between a range of how many points? Freaking 25 points, which is not a lot for an overnight session considering like look at the difference between this overnight session where we moved down and then this overnight session where we kind of went nowhere, or this overnight session and like this overnight session where we're moving up. See how these days where they're choppy, those are usually days where entries are a little harder, especially when we don't have a ton of liquidity. Like to the downside, we had this massive gap right here on the 1 hour. This massive gap is not really a, you can't really do a whole lot with that. And then like up above, the only liquidity that I was actually trying to target today up above were these highs and these highs. And that's kind of starting me off before I even like really get into the technical side of the trade. I think where I went wrong today was I was too focused on just trying to take a trade, and I wasn't focused enough on why I was taking the trade or where I was taking the trade to. Because yes, my entry today and the setup was A plus, but the draw on liquidity was not an A plus draw on liquidity. So, and I've struggled with this in the past, but I need to focus on this going forward. I need to find draws on liquidity that are within today's range. Like for example, this high, but it already got swept today, so I couldn't trade towards that. Or a good example would have been, when was it? Yesterday, like trading towards this high, we can see that this 1 hour candle took it out very easily. So trading like within these overnight ranges, that's what I need to start doing more. And I need to really just hone in on my draw and liquidity. But now that I've gotten kind of that structural, like what went wrong structurally, I'm going to get into like the more detailed stuff. So basically, market opened, and we can see that ES basically swept all of this low resistance 1 minute liquidity in here. Came all the way down. It was clean, perfect, and actually it made an SMT divergence with Nasdaq. Let me pull this up. You can see that Nasdaq swept all the way down to these London lows and took them out. So seeing this off of market open, I was like, okay, we made an SMT divergence. It's bullish. Nasdaq has nowhere else to go. If it wanted to move down into this 1 hour gap right here, it would have already done that. There's no reason for an index or like whatever you're trading. There's some exceptions, but like in this case, there is no reason for Nasdaq to sweep these lows and go higher and then want to come back down into this gap. It wouldn't make sense. It would have just filled this gap when it was already down here. So knowing that, I was like, okay, let's see if we flip bullish. Boom. We can see that we inversed this gap on Nasdaq and S&P 500. So I knew I was going to want to trade to the upside today because it was 850 and we were bullish. And basically around 850 is around like 15 to 20 minutes after the market opens. That's when I really decide my bias. That's when I really start to see the market shift and really start to distribute for the day. You can see we have that manipulation all the way down here, and then we want to get our distribution. But today, unfortunately, we just couldn't distribute far enough up to these highs and take those out. So seeing that bullish flip, then I was waiting for a continuation of that trend. So what did I wait for? A 5-minute retrace candle, which we got right here. We retraced beautifully. I couldn't ask for more. We hit equilibrium and we tapped into this gap. Again, which for those of you that don't know, basically, um, whenever you have a fair value gap like this that has formed off of this bearish candle and then been completely like flushed through by another candle, this actually turns into what's called a BRP. Um, Basically, it's just really fluid. It's basically this price range in here is really fluid, and price can either move back through it real quickly or it can react strongly off of it. So knowing that this was like an extra bullish retrace because like this doesn't happen very often, but it happened today, and I was just super bullish. That really just influenced my bias a lot. Um, and on Nasdaq, we didn't sweep into anything, but that's okay because Nasdaq was um, the leading index. I don't know why this is up here. Look, Nasdaq is the leading index on this, or lagging index. My bad. I'm tripping up. It's late. Um, but yeah, Nasdaq was the lagging index. ES was ES was leading on this. These are not, I should have updated these. But um yeah, we could see that ES was leading, so knowing that like if Nasdaq doesn't retrace all the way into our objectives, uh or if Nasdaq doesn't retrace all the way into our objectives, but ES does, it's okay because ES is leading and Nasdaq is lagging. Jeez, I don't know how I don't even know, bro. It's late and I was trying to explain that the best I could for y'all. I hope that made sense. But now let's get into like the where I entered. So after seeing this retrace right here on the 5 minute, I flipped down to the 1 minute, and basically I was just waiting for one of two things to happen. One, on this candle, I was waiting for us to inverse this gap, but that never happened, and we ended up forming a down candle, which allowed us to break structure off of this candle, and I entered right here. My stop loss was a few ticks below these lows, and the reason for that, I've gone over it before, but the reason for putting my stop loss a little bit below lows is because sometimes we will sweep these lows out and then make an SMT divergence and then reach our objective. And if you were to put it right on the low and you were unfortunately trading the lagging index on that newly made SMT, you would be stopped out and you wouldn't hit your trade. So that's why I put it a little bit low. And when you put it a little below, it's like some people, they like to be more strict, but the way I look at it is what you're risking an extra couple $100 here. It's not that bad, right? Like I'd rather risk my trade playing out than lose or than save $100, right? You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, where I really messed up today, I feel like, is my take profit, my draw on liquidity. I was targeting, like I said, all of these highs, these highs, these highs, and these highs, and they are external draws on liquidity. Basically, like I said at the beginning of the video, I need to trade within our range, um, and not really focus too much on these external draws on liquidity. These will get taken out in the higher time frame at a later date, and trading in my 1 hour window, it's not realistic for those things to be taken out. Um, but yeah, overall today I mean, it sucks to lose, but it was a normal losing day. My psychology was good when I was in the trade. I was focused. I was locked in. I had no hesitation, and yeah, it was pretty good. Uh, on the other note, a lot of these indexes and stocks and pretty much just how like everything in the market right now is kind of just chopping, and it's been chopping for like on a higher time frame perspective, it's been chopping for a while. You can see we had this move down, and I actually entered a lot of positions down there, and then we've moved up, and we've kind of just chopped within this little range here. And I think we're going to keep chopping considering the whole situation with the Fed and no cutting interest rates, and just the overall like stagnance of the economy right now. However, come a couple months from now, come May, uh, we will probably see more interest rates being cut, and the market will probably continue its bullish trend. So it's like not like right now we're kind of just in the calm before the storm, you know. But anything could happen. So don't. I'm not a financial advisor. Don't take my words. But right now would probably be a good time to be buying. Um, Again, I'm not a financial advisor, so don't do anything stupid. But I'm just saying that. Uh, Anyways, yeah, good day. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, let me know down below. Or reach out to me on Instagram. I can message you back directly there and hopefully help you out with whatever you need help with. But yeah, I hope you guys are having a good week so far, and I'll catch you guys later.